Howdy everyone, I'm back at it again. It's a beautiful Minnesota morning and I'm out here at one of my favorite lakes for some largemouth bass. We're going to try for some big ones today. I've got an interesting lure we're going to throw at them too. What I've got here is the Chasebaits Smuggler. So it's a bird lure. I've got the 3.5-inch version in the coot color. It almost reminds me of a red-winged blackbird, which we have a lot of around here. That's a pretty good size lure. Hopefully we can get the attention of some big bass with that. I'm gonna get him tied on. We'll take a closer look once I get him out of the packaging here. And we'll see what kind of action he's got. He does have a rattle inside of him there, I can hear that. It's always nice, a little bit extra to draw those fish in. So there he is, the bird lure, the Chasebaits Smuggler. Let's see what kind of action he's got. Kind of a heavy lure. I better reset my spool tension before I try to cast him out there. Alright, I'm just going to let him rip. See if we can get blasted. Very first cast. Splash. Ooh, that lure crawls along really nice actually. Right about there is where I caught my PB on this lake last year. At 6 pounds, 11 ounces. Beat my old PB by about a pound. Yeah, that fish was a monster. One of the reasons why I keep coming back to this lake. Beautiful scenery helps. Peacefulness out here is a pretty good thing. But those big bass, that's what I come back for. Oh my gosh. This is a big one, you guys. Get up here, oh my gosh. I'm nervous about grabbing him because I know that fish wants to thrash. Jeez, look at that bass, you guys. I don't know, that might be that same one that I caught over here last year. I'm gonna get him unhooked. We're gonna toss that one on the scale. 'Cause man, that is a giant. Jeez, look at that fish. Alright, I've got my scale zeroed out there. Really curious to see what this fish weighs. 22.5 inches, that's got to be one of the fattest bass that I've ever caught. In a way, I kind of want to beat my PB, but in a way I don't, because my old one was caught on my grandpa's lure. So my old PB was 6'11". Let's see what this one weighs in at. Press hold right there. It is just a little bit shy of my old PB. That one weighs in at 6 pounds, 8 ounces. I don't know if you guys can see that on my scale or not, but 6.5 pounds. Man, that is an absolute beast for a Minnesota largemouth. My gosh. All right, let's let him swim. Unbelievable. Very first catch on that bird lure. It's the second biggest bass that I've ever caught. Looks like the wings held up just fine too. Well, can't ask for a much better start to the day than that. Let's keep throwing that bird lure around. We'll see if we can get another one like that. That's gonna be a tough one to try to beat though. 6.5 pounds. You don't catch many bass like that here in Minnesota. Those loons seem to be doing most of their swimming around and hunting out in deeper waters. That makes me think there's probably a bunch of bluegill out there. Which means there might be some big old bass out there too. That one I caught, I don't think it was real deep. It was in maybe 8 feet of water. It was within the weeds. These weeds grow out to about 10 feet deep. Wasn't quite sure where we would find the fish today. They're probably a little bit scattered. I'm sure we got some out in 10, 15, 20 feet of water too. One thing I've noticed on this particular lake though, right now it's about the end of July. Usually sometime in August, once we start getting some cool overnight temps, the bluegill will start moving out of the shallows. They'll start kind of suspending right below the surface out in deeper water, out in maybe 15 to 25 feet of water. I'll see schools of them. I'll actually see their dorsal fins popping up out of the water when it's calm out. Haven't really seen that happening yet today. It might be a little bit too early for that, but once the bluegill move out there, the bass will generally follow. So if I see those big schools of bluegill, I'll throw a big topwater lure over them. And sometimes there will be a big old bass lurking underneath them. I love the hum of those Shimano SLX DC reels, or any of their DC reels, I guess. They all make that same noise. I've had several people comment asking about these reels. I picked up a couple of them about a month ago now. So I've had a little bit of a chance to get some use out of them, and I gotta say, I am impressed. They're super solid. I cast a mile. I mean, if I set that brake down to 1, which I very well could do out here today, I could probably dang near cast the spool off this reel, but I mean, that's far enough. I don't want to get it out any farther than that, end up hooking a fish with dang near a spool of line out and having to try to reel myself over to them. Covering plenty of water out here today with that reel on the number 2 setting for the brakes. I do think I'm gonna have to try that bird lure on some pike and muskie. That thing makes a lot of commotion. I think those big predator fish would really like that. So I've been fishing my way along. No action since that one big bass off the point over there. Really been thinking though, I wonder if that is that same big bass I caught last year on my grandpa's old swimming mouse lure. with maybe one less bluegill in its belly. Oh, I grabbed some pictures of it too, so I'll have to maybe compare the pictures when I get home. It'd be really interesting if it was the same fish. Pretty much the same exact spot. I mean, he was a little bit shallower where he hit compared to last year, but I mean, it was within a cast length for sure. I wonder. How deep are we here? About 10 feet? I think that's about the depth where I caught that one earlier. These weeds do go out quite a ways here though. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's getting me down into those weeds. I still feel that fish fighting though. Come on, get out of there. I don't pull him too hard. I'm fishing with 14-pound mono. Oh no! Frick. Oh, that was another huge bass, you guys. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. Oh, my heart is just racing. Oh, it sucks we lost that fish. Grrr. I saw him down there. That was probably a 5-pounder. Oh, darn it. My fault. I had a feeling we might find one off of this point here, and kind of left myself about 50 feet back in the weeds. Suppose I should maybe clean some of the salad off my kayak before I continue. Oh, still bummed I lost that one, but can't dwell on it. There's more fish out here. Don't think he was quite as big as that one that I caught earlier, but boy, it sure would have been nice to have about 12 pounds worth of fish for the first 2 of the day. We can still make that happen though. We got plenty of time. Beautiful day out here. I got nothing better to do. Still hoping for redemption for that big one that I lost. Oh, it's been about an hour now. No action since then. Really, I think that parrot lure is going to be a big fish lure, so not expecting a lot of action on it, but the action that we do get should be quality fish. Speaking of which, there's one right there. Oh, sweet, sweet redemption. You stay out of those weeds. You stay out of those weeds. Get back up here. You get back over here. Yes. In the net. Nope, you're not going to jump back out. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Awesome. It's been a little bit slow going out here today. Been having to cover some water, but like I was just saying, I think that lure is going to be a big fish lure. Look at the size of that largie. Not nearly as big as that first one. He's probably a good 3.5 pounds. Quality fish. Off you go. All right, you guys, I gave it a little while longer after that last fish, but no more action. Hey, we got 3 quality bites on that Chasebaits Smuggler out here this morning. That's really pretty typical for this lake. Good morning to topwater fishing out here. I'll usually catch 3 or 4 quality fish. So had I got that second one in my net, we would have been right on par with that. I don't blame the lure for that though. That was my own fault for not maintaining a little bit stricter kayak positioning discipline. I threw that lure over about 30 feet of thick weeds. Of course, that fish smashed it at the far end, kind of buried himself into those weeds, and by the time I got over there, he was pretty much gone. No complaints out of me though. Caught the second biggest bass I've ever caught out here today. So had that been the only bite I got out here this morning, I still would have been leaving happy. I am pretty impressed with that bird lure though. That thing's got great action, definitely a big fish lure. Still looks pretty much brand new too. It's got one little chip in the paint there. Aside from that, it looks like I just pulled it out of the box. So that thing got smashed and thrown around all morning. Still looks good. It's kind of my main concern because I'll be honest, I tried the smaller size of one of these smugglers on smallmouth about a week ago. I caught 3 of them before one of those wings totally, the little notch fell off. But I did kind of chuck it in the trees a couple of times too. Yeah, I'm hard on gear when I'm out on the river. But that bigger size held up quite well out here today. I guess I didn't abuse it quite as much as the smaller one. So yeah, I'll be holding on to that lure. I'd really like to try it on some pike or muskie. Probably bring it back out here again too, maybe in a month or so, late August, early September. Once we start getting some big bass suspending out in deep water, I think that bird lure should work pretty well to call them in. Got the attention of a few of them out here today. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Thanks for coming along with me again. I'll see you next time.